Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really fascinating intersection. We're looking at how sweeping state labor laws crash right into the very real day-to-day employee contracts that govern local school staff. It's an absolutely critical moment for educational support personnel, specifically over in Henry County. You see, we've got this shifting legislative landscape on one hand and a very active, vital union contract on the other. For those tuning in, particularly our paraprofessionals, the details we are about to unpack are incredibly timely. So grab your notebooks, get focused, and let's decode exactly how these broad state actions ripple all the way down to your paycheck, your breaks, and your benefits. Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the shifting labor landscape in Florida, then move inside the HESPA contract itself. From there, we'll break down Article 7 on working conditions, Article 12 on compensation, and finally, Article 13 on insurance protections.
The shifting labor landscape and new legislation in Florida.
We've got to set the scene statewide first. The rules of the game for public employee unions in Florida have been undergoing some truly significant changes. To understand the urgency surrounding this local contract, we really have to look at a major legislative milestone. On May 1, 2026, the legislative gears turned locally in Southwest Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis arrived at Fort Myers High School to sign two major pieces of legislation. He signed House Bill 1279 regarding education, and critically for our discussion today, Senate Bill 1296 regarding the Public Employees Relations Commission, or PERC. This timeline is essential because it fundamentally altered the membership thresholds required for public unions to maintain their official certification. SB 1296 really sets the stage for how public employee relations operates statewide. Because of this new PERC framework, there's now a strict requirement for public unions to maintain a 60% membership threshold. And that brings us to a highly time-sensitive issue for the Henry Educational Support Personnel Association. To avoid a brand new state-mandated PERC election, the union needs to recruit exactly 80 new paraprofessional members by May 10th. Paraprofessionals currently make up the absolute largest non-member group, and as we're about to see in the contract details, they have a tremendous amount riding on this agreement.
Section 2. Inside the HSPA contract and the local application.
Now, Tallahassee might pass the laws, but it's the local application that actually dictates a worker's daily reality. At the bargaining table, we have two distinct parties. On the left, there's the Henry County School District, representing the management and the county's educational priorities. And on the right, you have the Henry Educational Support Personnel Association, or HESPA, Local 7428. They represent the bus drivers, the custodians, and of course, the paraprofessionals, who quite literally keep the district running.
So here's the crucial point. This collective bargaining agreement, which is active from July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2027, is the absolute rulebook for these essential staff members. Without a certified union to enforce and negotiate this document, all the terms inside it could be subject to some pretty sweeping changes. Let's open up that rulebook and see exactly what's on the line, especially when we look at some recent workplace surveys.
Section 3, Article 7, Working Conditions and a Day in the Life.
This is where the rubber really meets the road when it comes to time management, break schedules, and the basic physical expectations of the job. Article 7 meticulously maps out the workday. Step 1, the standard work week is strictly capped at 40 hours. Step 2, your daily shift simply cannot exceed 8 hours without explicit prior authorization for overtime. And Step 3, if you work 7 or more hours, you are contractually guaranteed two 15-minute rest periods, usually one in the morning and one in the afternoon. It provides a highly structured environment to ensure workers aren't pushed past standard limits without compensation. But there's a very specific caveat when it comes to lunch.
Here's where things get interesting. There's a surprising nuance in how lunch breaks are handled, and it totally depends on your role. If you are a paraprofessional, you're considered school-based personnel. That means you get a 30-minute paid lunch, but you must remain on call for emergencies. Compare that to all other non-school-based employees. They get a 30-minute unpaid but entirely duty-free lunch. Recent survey results from staff have highlighted a major point of frustration right here. Paraprofessionals report that their breaks are highly unreliable precisely because being on call often means their lunch gets interrupted. This is a primary working condition governed directly by this contract.
Section 4, Article 12, Compensation and Breaking Down the Paycheck.
Pay is pretty much always the most scrutinized part of any labor agreement, isn't it? And recent surveys actually show significant dissatisfaction with current pay levels among support staff.
Let's see how the contract regulates earning potential. It clearly anchors standard pay up to 40 hours at the employee's regular hourly rate. But if you work over 40 hours, strict rules kick in. Overtime is paid at 1.5 times the regular rate. Alternatively, workers can agree to take compensatory time, which is also banked at that 1.5 multiplier. But there's a catch here. That comp time must be used within 30 duty days. It's a very tight window designed to prevent massive accumulations of owed time.
But you're probably wondering, what about raises? Well, here's a massive point from Article 12. Step increases for experience are not automatic every year. They actually have to be actively negotiated at the bargaining table. The contract does, however, offer specific pathways to higher pay. For example, supplements are provided if an employee completes an AA or AS degree. Furthermore, if a full-time certified paraprofessional is asked to step up and substitute for a teacher for more than 10 consecutive days, they get a $25 daily supplement for those full days worked. So if staff are dissatisfied with pay, it's exactly at the bargaining table where these step increases and supplements are fought for.
Section 5. Article 13. Insurance protections for health and life.
In today's economy, these protections are just as crucial as the hourly wage. I really want to emphasize this very specific, impactful figure, $9,871. This is the exact maximum annual amount the school board is contractually obligated to pay for a full-time employee's comprehensive health, medical, and dental insurance. Any premium cost above that number comes directly out of the employee's pocket. Survey results have shown that members feel this insurance cap is simply insufficient given how fast healthcare costs are rising, and according to the contract, any increase to this cap is completely subject to future bargaining.
Now, looking beyond health coverage, loyalty and longevity are rewarded when it comes to life insurance through a tiered multiplier system paid entirely by the board. If you have 0 to 9 years of service, your life insurance coverage equals your annual salary. Serve 10 to 14 years, and it jumps up to 1.5 times your salary. Give 15 or more years to the district, and your coverage doubles to 2 times your annual salary. It's a very clear, structured benefit meant to retain those long-term staff members.
But what happens when the insurance market shifts? Well, the contract actually anticipates this. Under Article 13.7, it establishes a joint insurance benefits task force to explore improvements. And I just love this line. The parties agreed to use a consensus-based process for making decisions. It ensures that union representatives, including those speaking directly for paraprofessionals, have a direct, equal voice in tweaking and improving insurance specs before they ever go to the board.
Which brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? How will local contracts like HESPA's evolve in future negotiations under this new state PERC framework? We know that addressing the survey concerns, like those unreliable on-call breaks, the dissatisfaction with pay, and the insufficient insurance caps, requires a certified union right there at the bargaining table. And to keep that seat at the table, without going through a disruptive PERC election, the union must reach that 60% threshold by May 10th. For the paraprofessionals watching, you are the largest non-member group, and 80 of you are needed to secure these exact contract rights we just went through. To address this urgency, HESPA is currently circulating a join link directly via text message so they can hit that 60% mark. It's a truly fascinating look at how macro legislation directly affects the micro daily life of school staff. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.